to you live from the Alaska Zoo inside the alpaca habitat. We have our curator Sam Lavin and myself, educator Avery Bryant. And today we're going to be talking about our Giving Tuesday fundraising event, and the focus of that is raising money for our camel habitat. We currently have a male camel named Navi, and those guys really like to be with other camels. So we are fundraising to bring a female camel up for him to have a companion, as well as to make some changes to our current camel habitat to make it an even better space for the two camels that we will soon have. Behind us, you can see these are not camels. These are some of the alpacas. Charlie's trying to nibble my coat. We have Matt over here with some food hanging out of his mouth, and Pablo is just unsure what we're doing back there.
You guys first met Matt years ago when he arrived at the zoo, and I introduced him as white with dirt. Now his name is Matt.
He's got a little bit of that dirt right
he's
there.
still white with dirt, but his name is Matt now.
So Sam, why are we in the alpaca habitat? These guys aren't camels.
We are in the alpaca habitat because Navi is kind of sick of us today already, and these are actually related. They're in the camel family. So there's not very many camelids, but there's a few. There's Bactrian camels, there's dromedary camels, there are alpacas and llamas, and then their wild counterparts, which are vicunas and guanacos. So these guys are, again, another high elevation species. They do really well in the cold. Charlie isn't being the nicest to Avery right now.
He's behind me munching on my coat.
And they're kind of fun. They have a lot of camel qualities. They have very tough stomachs. They eat all kinds of whatever they can find. They can live in very rough climates. They have toes instead of hooves. A lot of the same qualities, but a lot of different ones as well. These ones are domestic. They've been bred for 5,000 years at least. And they're like sheep. They've been bred for their wool, so they have to be sheared. So we shear them every year. Charlie, you might notice, has a little bit of a different haircut. He's a bit of a punk, so we gave him a mullet this year. He looks very sharp. Chuckles! He's like an Avery though.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There's a lot of attention for these guys back here today. So it's kind of funny that these guys are usually found in South America, and the Bactrian camels and the dromedary camels are found in Asia, but we currently don't have any in North America. So the origin place for camels is actually in North America. So the very first camels were found in North America during the Ice Age. Once the Bering Land Bridge was formed, then they made their way over into Asia, and then they also made their way down into South America. The South American camel ancestor became the alpacas and the llamas and the vicunas, and the Asian camel ancestor became the dromedary camel and the Bactrian camel. Kind of like with the mammoths and the sloths and the cave bears, the North American camel ancestor didn't quite survive to the modern day. So we have no camel species here in North America, but they are in South America and over in Asia, which is pretty cool. I guess I shouldn't say we don't have any in North America because we have these guys here at our zoo. They're just living with us.
We don't have any native camels.
Any native camels. Yeah.
We have Matt. We have Matt. You can see Pablo's a little more shy. He likes to hang out, but he's not as interactive as these other two.
Yeah. All about it. So one of the interesting similarities that these guys have with camels that Sam may have mentioned earlier is that they can spit. And correct me if I'm wrong.
We haven't talked about spitting.
Oh, great. This is fantastic. So camels and llamas and alpacas, when they spit, for the longest time, I thought that it was just saliva coming out of their mouth. But correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, it's actually bits of their stomach, like from the
It can be. Okay. So they can spit whatever's in their mouth, and I've certainly been shot with a mouthful of grain before. But if they really mean it, like if they really want to get you away from them, they'll bring up whatever's in their stomach and spit that at you, and I've been hit with that a few times too. So yeah, that's always fun. So the joys of working with camels is sometimes you get spit on. I've been hit in the face with a lot of things. I got hit with an entire apple slice one time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But you also, when you work with alpacas and you learn to shear them, they hate being sheared, and so you get spit on sometimes for that. This is why you have a mullet. Your attitude. Fix it.
One of the things that we talked about a little bit earlier with camels and also with alpacas and llamas is they have some really interesting features that a lot of other herbivores lack. And when we were talking about Nabi, our camel, we mentioned that he has some canine teeth. So Bactrian camels are primarily herbivorous. They like to eat plants. And usually animals with big canines are animals like the carnivores. So you've got cats, wolves, they have those big canines that they use for eating meat. But the camels don't eat meat. So why do they have these big canines? It's primarily for fighting with each other and for protection.
Yeah, it's usually fighting with each other, usually over females, and then for protection from their predators, which aren't very many.
Yeah,
mostly just wolves.
yeah.
But they would rather just go off somewhere where where the predators can't follow them, because they can survive easily.
Yeah, they're big kids. I'm going to bring out one of our biofax skulls that we have. So we actually have a camel skull replica here at the Alaska Zoo. It's not a Bactrian camel skull, it's actually a dromedary camel skull, but it's still cool to see those canines on an animal that clearly can eat plants. So I'll grab that real quick. What do you think, Matt? So this here is a dromedary camel skull. Yeah, this is kind of what you look like on a smaller scale.
He doesn't care for that at all.
No, it has big scary teeth. So you can see in the back they have those molars that are used for grinding of the plants that they eat.
There's the molars.
There's the molars where Matt is showing. Matt, can you show them the canines?
Right here.
Perfect. Those are the canine
canines.
teeth. Yep. And this is the dromedary camel, so those canines are a little bit smaller. But in the Bactrian camels, they can get up to finger length. They can get pretty big, which is just so crazy. I think we have used pictures of Nabi yawning with his canines out for our Star Wars Day promotions before. He just looks like an alien. You can finally see those canine teeth. We don't have any native camels here in Alaska, but most of the animals that we have here at the Alaska Zoo are native Alaskan species, or they're also usually found in light climate environments. So we have an Amur tiger here, we have some snow leopards, and those animals are all either vulnerable or endangered in the wild. They have that in common. Our Bactrian camel that we have here at the zoo is actually a domesticated version of a similar species. So in Mongolia and China, where the Bactrian camels are found, there is actually a wild type of the camel called the wild camel. They look pretty much exactly like the Bactrian camel Nabi that we have here today. And for a while it was thought that they were the same species. But in, I believe, 1993, the Wild Camel Foundation and some other organizations were able to do some gene research for the camels, and they realized that the wild camel and the domestic Bactrian camel are in fact two very distinct species, and they split about 700,000 years ago. So they've been two very distinct species for quite some time. At our zoo, again, we have the domesticated version of the species. So we aren't participating in a breeding program for that. However, it gives us the chance to talk about the wild camels that are not doing so well. There is an organization called the Wild Camel Foundation, and they have done a lot of work in Mongolia and China, Mongolia specifically, where they have breeding facilities where they bring in some of those wild Bactrian camels and they breed them for release in the wild. They were listed as critically endangered and now are just listed as endangered, so their reintroduction efforts have been pretty successful, and there are now about 1,000 of those wild camels, give or take, in the wild. So having Nabi here at the zoo gives us a chance to talk about some of his wild cousins and teach you guys about an endangered species that needs a little bit of help. Again, we are here for Giving Tuesday, and we are trying to raise some money for our new female camel to come, as well as to make some changes to our current camels, habitat. We are asking for a $12,000 match. We have already been gifted $12,000 by an anonymous donor, which is amazing. And so we would really love to match that $12,000 goal today. We are hoping to raise $50,000 by the end of October so we can make those neat changes and bring our lady camel on up here. Some changes that we're hoping to make to the camel exhibit include a nice sandy area for the camels, as well as a pole barn. We're also going to be making some changes to the fencing, and then expanding the general area so the camels have a little bit more space to move around with each other, which should be fantastic. I do have some questions about Navi specifically for you, Sam.
Sure.
So earlier today, he was given a cardboard box for enrichment and for munching on. What does he like to eat as part of his regular diet?
His regular diet here at the zoo is mostly Timothy hay, and we have kind of an alpaca green that we give him with a little bit of sweet feed in it. He has mineral salt block that a lot of herbivores really like. And then he gets browse, so tree branches, and all kinds of green plants and stuff in the summer. But yeah, mostly it's the green mix and the hay.
Solid.
Yeah.
I've heard that he is a big fan of like old logs. I think I was there when his keeper gave him like a big hunk of birch.
Big
and
birch
he was
log,
crazy.
yeah, it's a big deal. Birch bark is a big deal for Navi.
Nice. Well, we have plenty of birch here, so that's great.
Yeah, lucky for Navi.
Lucky for Navi.
We get a lot of birch around here.
Are there any like trainings that you guys do with him?
We train him a little bit. He does some open behaviors and lines up at the fence so that we can, we kind of check him over, check his feet, things like that. But he's mostly just pretty amiable, easy to work with. Yeah. Camels are trainable. Alpacas, notoriously difficult to train, but still very fun to work with. Not untrainable, but every time you go to read about alpaca training, it's just, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Their motivations are just different.
Would you say that the Bactrian camels like Navi are maybe food motivated?
A little bit. They're more attention motivated too, because they are, especially the domestic, obviously the domestic subspecies they like people. They were bred to work with people and like people. Llamas are a little more easy to work with because they're, again, like pack animals, so they're bred to work with people. Alpacas are fiber animals, and they're bred to just live out there, come get sheared, and then go back out. So they're usually really standoffish. We don't know why Matt is so friendly. He's a rescue. We don't know his history. He is amazing. A lot of people come to visit him at the zoo, and he's in like everybody's selfies. And that's fine with me. He's helping Charlie overcome his human anxieties. His very inbred human anxieties.
I guess the only people I've seen Charlie really go up to have been like little kids or like kids in strollers.
Yeah, he's starting to visit with people at the fence. Yeah, Pablo is getting a little more friendly with his keepers. That's the first step.
That's a good deal. That's fantastic. Funny little group of boys here.
Yeah.
So Sam mentioned that we do shear the alpacas. We don't shear Navi. That would be a big task and not something he would appreciate or something that he needs. He sheds his fur. But I think that you guys have collected some of his fur in the past. Is that correct?
Yeah, it comes off of him in great big sheets, and so we help him groom a little bit every year and help him sort of itch that off of him. Yeah. And we've collected. We tried to weigh it 1 year, and we collected 30 pounds.
That's pretty significant.
Of fiber off of Navi.
That's a lot of hair.
Yeah, and it's really rough. People do make stuff out of camel, but you have to mix it with a lot of like merino wool and stuff to make it soft. Alpaca, you don't have to do that. Yeah. Come here, Pablo.
Want to come see the camera?
Pablo, come here.
I will say, since I've started working here, Pablo has come up a little bit more. The first winter I was here, he spent pretty much all of it in his house and wouldn't come out. And now I've seen him come up to the fence and be a little bit more curious, which is exciting. So that's great for Pablo.
Well, and he's another rescue, so we don't really know his background either and what he had to go through before he got here.
Yeah. He's in a safe space. That's fantastic. All right. And then I was also wondering if you had any like funny Navi stories, or if there's anything that he's done that's been like quirky, and we're like, why?
Sometimes, well, we used to call it rodeo camel. He liked to run up and down the fence with his keeper a little bit. His companion that we lost recently liked to play with the hose. Like, she would play in the hose with us when we were filling the buckets in the summer. And he would try to stop her. Like, he was like, no, we don't play in the hose. One of my favorite things that he does this time of year is he'll get big toys and barrels and things and then smash them into the ground. So that's always fun, watching him try to mash things right down into the ground.
Nice. Do you think that's part of like his rut behavior? Yeah. He just wants to destroy.
Yeah, alpaca breeding and and camelid breeding, I guess. People should research that on their own time. But it is an interesting. It's an interesting behavior that they do.
Cool. I was researching camels a little bit last year when we taught an Ice Age class to some of our homeschool students here. And while I was researching camels, I read that in pre-Civil War America, there was the United States Camel Corps.
Yep.
Have you heard of that?
I have heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a problem. Up in Alaska, the only kind of camel that a private person can own is a dromedary. Bactrian can go feral in Alaska and survive just fine. So nobody's allowed to own those outside of a zoo setting. There are over 1 million feral camels in Australia.
Yep.
So yeah, there's various places in the world where camels weren't native to, that people have brought them in and tried to use them as an animal, and it's a bizarre story.
Yeah. In the early 1800s, the United States government and the military were realizing that camels could be a really interesting species to have for their uses. They were trying to kind of explore more of the desert southwest of the United States, and realized that camels did really well in environments with low food and limited water. So they paid, I want to say it's like $30,000 that Congress gave them, which is the equivalent of like $1 million today. And they went and they grabbed a bunch of camels, mostly dromedary camels, brought them back to the United States, and then would use them for like military treks and purposes. And the camels did quite well. They outpaced the mules in a lot of places. Then unfortunately the Civil War and other things happened, and camels were no longer really on the priority list. You
don't hear a lot about war camels.
No, war camels, yeah. And they were then released, and then there were feral camels that were running around the United States for a little bit. So, yeah, be careful what animals you get, and don't let your pets or your exotics out in the wild. The Bactrian camels, that would make sense that they do quite well here. They're found in colder areas in Asia and Mongolia, so they do really well in the snow and colder temperatures like we have here today. All right. Well, thank you again for tuning in on our Giving Tuesday live stream. This is the last one of the day. Thank you so much to Matt, Pablo, and Charlie for participating in our live stream, although now they're being a little aloof. Again, we are hoping to raise about $12,000 today to match the $12,000 that we received from an anonymous donor. We really appreciate all the support that you can give us. Every little bit helps, and hopefully we will have our new female camel here soon and our expanded camel enclosure.
There he is.
Yeah.
Matt's come to say goodbye.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Matt. And thank you guys for your support.